Hey everybody, James with Love My Pups, My Breeder Supply. Poisons. So this is one of those scary situations where your dog is all of a sudden in trouble, and what do? So I'm going to do this in a multi-part video. So we're going to talk generally about what you do if you've got a poisoned dog, and then we're going to talk specifically about chocolate, insecticides, drug overdoses, snake bites, spider bites, wounds. We're going to talk about those in other videos, but let's start off with is, what do your dog's in trouble? Okay, so in most cases, when your dog has got into something that's caused them to be in trouble, the effects of these things are pretty quick in most cases, not always, in most cases. So the first situation is, an hour ago you had a completely happy, normal dog, and now all of a sudden the dog's in big trouble. What do? Well, the first thing to remember is I'm not a vet, and I'm not a licensed medical practitioner, so any information that I give you here is just information that I've gleaned over the years, and so I don't guarantee its accuracy, and certainly the first thing that you should always do in these situations is call your vet up immediately. So if you've got a critical situation, the first thing to do is enlist your vet and get their help as quick as you possibly can. So this is more in the event that you've got to decide what you think's going on, and if you are not, if vet's not available, and by the way, in today's COVID world, certainly much harder to get into a vet, then you need to do some things to take action to try to save this situation. The quicker that you do something, the more likely is you'll have a good outcome. The longer you leave it, the more likely that things will go wrong. All right, so let's talk about something that's been ingested. Your dog has swallowed something and it's got in trouble. So the first thing is, can you identify what has been swallowed? Because if you can, it gives you a good idea about what you should do next. Specifically, if you can identify what the dog swallowed, it's something like a household cleaning agent or something like that, read on the bottom and it'll tell you what you should do in the event that this product has been swallowed. And the CDC, there is an 800 number for, you can look and Google it, but it's an 800 number for poison control. And it's good for humans and it's good for animals. And you can absolutely, if you can't get to your vet and you can identify the product, I would call the poison control people up, because it's a free phone call and they'll probably get on the phone with you really quickly and give you an idea about what you should do next. Okay, but in general, if your dog has swallowed something, then the treatment is to get that out of them, to make them vomit, to get rid of it. There are specific circumstances where you absolutely should not induce vomiting. So I'm going to tell you how to induce vomiting, but first off, let's talk about the things that you should not induce vomit for. So number one, your dog has swallowed something that is sharp. So swallow the sharp object. You do not want your dog to start vomiting up a sharp object because it may cause trauma to the entire passage all the way up while it's straight up. That one there, you don't want to induce vomiting. That one you're going to go to the vet, definitely. I've got the wrong notes here. Let's get the right notes in front of me. I always make notes. Okay. So, number two, if the dog has already vomited. It's probably spelt wrong. It's probably one T. Already vomited. In that situation, you don't induce vomiting. If the dog is unconscious, that's spelt wrong too. Unconscious. If the dog is unconscious, you do not want to make the dog throw up. If the dog is having problems breathing or having convulsions, you do not want to induce vomiting. If you found the product that the dog has swallowed and it says do not induce vomiting, guess what? You don't induce vomiting. Right. Okay, so we're going to assume now that the dog is in trouble. It's in big trouble. Obviously, it swallowed something that's causing it problems. It has gone into this, problem. It is obvious that something's wrong. and it's been a relatively short time. So let's make the dog puke. So what is the danger of making a dog puke? I think it's the same as you and I. I think it's really pretty limited that you're going to cause any harm unless it's one of these things that was on that list I just got rid of. So I think now, again, remember, it may be giving you bad information here, so don't come back and sue me if I'm wrong. But look, if I had swallowed something, the first thing to do is get the damn thing out of your stomach. So let's induce vomiting. So to induce vomiting, a simple way is you give the dog 1 teaspoon of 3% hydrogen peroxide. Buy that at Walmart. It comes in a little brown bottle. 1 teaspoon of 3% for every 10 pounds of dog weight. So a 5-pound dog's going to get half a teaspoon, a 10-pound dog's going to get a teaspoon, and a 50-pound dog's going to get 5 teaspoons of hydrogen peroxide. Get it into a syringe and get it in their mouth, in the side of their cheek, and make them swallow it. And wait 15, 20 minutes. If they haven't puked, do it again. Do it up to 3 times over 1 hour. So that is the simple way of trying to make a dog puke. Now there are other products that the vet will have that will be even more reliable in terms of getting the dog to vomit. So again, if you can get to the vet, get to the vet. But look, the first thing that you can possibly do that I think is going to be helpful is to get that stuff out of their stomach that's causing them hell. If you don't have that, another solution is for every 10 pounds, make sure I get this right, for every 10 pounds, you use half an egg white and half a what? I've never used this one. Well, it's basically a mixture of egg white and milk. Mix up egg white and milk 50-50 and get them to drink that or swallow that up. That supposedly, what that does is that's not going to make them puke, but it coats the lining of the stomach. So the idea here is any poisons that are in there don't get absorbed in the stomach lining and hopefully get flushed out through the intestines. So this is not going to make them puke. This is a prophylactic to stop them from getting any more toxins into their body. And then the other thing about all of this is to follow this up with activated charcoal. So activated charcoal, and I bought some on Amazon. I've got a bag of it. Activated charcoal is really messy stuff. So you can buy it 2 ways. What you should do is you should go buy 5-gram tablets. A 5-gram tablet of activated charcoal. My board's not working. Activated charcoal. So you can go buy that, and this is the kind of thing that you can actually go to Walgreens and you can buy, or Walmart, and you can buy activated charcoal in tablets over the counter. They're not very strong, so they're more for you to take for whatever, as opposed to doing what we want it to do, which is a mop-up agent. So the way activated charcoal works is it tends to mop up all of the toxins and poisons that are in the stomach, binds them together, so they then don't get released into the body and the dog poops it out. So this is a general process that I think most vets are going to do. If your dog has suffered from poisoning, is that you're going to give activated charcoal. And the problem with activated charcoal, if it's in a capsule, you can make them swallow it. But if you just get the powdered form, which is what I have, you're going to have a hard time making them swallow it. And you're probably going to have a feeding tube, and you're going to have to put it onto a syringe. You mix it with water, make a slurry out of it, stick a feeding tube down the mouth and stick it into the mouth. And the amount of that you use is typically, let's have a look here, I've got it written down, 5 grams of activated charcoal for every 10 pounds of body weight. So that's the normal amount you use. And you put that in there, and hopefully it binds up all the toxins that are in there so it doesn't get absorbed in the body. I think that's just a smart thing to do. But again, remember, the smartest thing you can do, of course, is to not have any of these medications laying around or any of these things laying around that a dog can get into. It's like baby-proofing your house, right? You don't have that much control. Dogs will eat anything. They will eat anything they possibly can. And so if you've made the mistake of leaving some kind of a toxin around, there's a good chance that your dog will eat it. So I think fundamentally, the best advice I have to start with is don't leave these things around that a dog can get into. Okay, I'm going to talk just briefly about one other thing, which is that there's something on the dog's fur that's causing irritation. They've got into an acid, they've got into an alkali, they've got into bleach, they've got into a petroleum product, maybe they've got into some insecticide. What do you do in these situations? Put some rubber gloves on, give the dog a really good bath, and then lots and lots of water afterwards. Get that off their fur, get it off their skin, and then if they've got sores or blisters or burning, you're going to have to treat that afterwards. But the first thing to do in those situations where there's something on the fur that's causing the dog hell, get it off their fur as quick as you possibly can. And I recommend you wear gloves when you do this because it might affect you too. Okay, I think that's probably all I'm going to do on this one. I think the next one's going to be, we're going to talk specifically about chocolates, drugs, garbage, snake and insect bites, anaphylactic shock, epileptic seizures and wounds. I'm going to treat those in the next couple of videos. But again, just to back up on this, I think the important part here is if your dog is in trouble and you realize there's a problem, it's coming on very quickly, seek medical help. Go to the vet if you can. Call up the Points of Control Center and see if they can give you some information. If you can find the product or the thing that the dog has eaten, that'll help a lot in determining how you should treat it. If you're not sure what to do, then I think the first thing to do is, unless you think it's a sharp object, but I think generally that the first thing to do is to try to get the dog to vomit, and after that to treat it with activated charcoal. But that is not the treatment every time. That's part of the problem here. But if you do nothing and you can't get to a vet, then that is a situation that the dog may go downhill in a hurry. And I think you're then forced into doing something. Even if it's not the right thing, you're forced into doing something. Because if you don't do anything, the dog's going downhill. If it can't get to a vet, the dog likely could die. Anyway, not a very nice subject, but an important one. I would recommend that you do have a first aid kit on hand. You can buy these for humans, you can buy them for dogs, to have sutures, bandages, to have some activated charcoal, to have some shampoo, to have these things on hand. Have a breathing tube or a feeding tube makes sense. To have a stethoscope, to have a thermometer. Those are all things that everybody should have if they've got animals around they care about. Some of those things you can even buy on our website, which would be mybreedersupply.com. And we've got other great products there as well for you. But again, thanks for watching and take care of your doggies. Bye, everybody.